Tell me what day of the backpack this is and just where we are.
We are backpacking 9 miles today. We're going to try to get to a spring called Pour Off Pool.
Yeah, and so we might end up in the dark because we took a side trip here, but that's okay.
Yeah, because this trip was really cool, so I'm glad we did it.
Hi, I'm Jack Benter. I'm the Adventure Director for the Tahoe Expedition Academy. So during our Conflicts of Interest expedition, one of the case studies was to Bears Ears, a national monument in southeast Utah. On the expedition was 30 9th and 10th graders from our school.
We went to Bears Ears to learn about why it was created as a national monument by the Obama administration and why it has been shrunk by the Trump administration and the debate there.
We wanted to understand Bears Ears firsthand to experience the value. It's not just for recreational use, but it's also for Native American land and the uranium mill.
So we started the trip splitting into 3 different groups, heading into an area known as Grand Gulch.
We are organizing our stuff for our backpacking trip tomorrow. We are going in something gulch, Grand Gulch, I think that's what it's called. And we are going to, this group is going to be doing a 30-mile hike around there to the end point.
During the Grand Gulch backpacking section, the students were, well, one, being pushed through constructive adversity through miles of washes and sandstone canyons.
How many more miles do we have?
So we're 8 miles into this trip, and
it's a 24-mile trip.
Yes.
So we have 16 more to go. Almost there. Kind of almost there.
Along that backpacking journey, they came upon architectural dwellings, whether they were cliff dwellings or fully intact kivas.
Just walking around all the ruins and seeing everything, on the ground, things that people have built, thousands of years ago. It really puts, your whole world into perspective, and you kind of start to understand that, life is short, really, and, what we leave behind is really what defines us.
I think that the hardest physical part of that trip was definitely when we were canyoneering.
When we went canyoneering, I was sure that the hardest part was going to be rappelling down into the canyon. And I was like, after that, the swimming part, that's going to be easy. I swim in Tahoe, the water's fine. But then I got there and it wasn't.
Come right here, dude. Stand up and come here. Stand up, come here. Breathe.
But then when I got down into the water, I just couldn't move. Like, I jumped into the water and I froze.
And we were having to drag people out because they were shutting down, and one of the guys was yelling at all the kids to just keep going.
We gotta do it. Can you just get to where those guys are and swim as hard as you can? I've got the warm clothes are in here. You have to.
And I just couldn't move a bone in my body. And then they told me just keep moving your legs, moving your hands, moving your arms, and I tried to, but it was just so hard I couldn't.
Swing your arms, dude.
How was it?
First it was nerve-wracking, now I feel pumped up.
Ben, lift your feet off the rock and just...
Nice work, everyone.
Once we were done with our adventures in canyoneering, we went to go learn from the inhabitants of the Bears Ears area.
So the students experienced some of the people of Blanding, Utah, who live in Blanding and worked at the mill. It was upwind of one of the Native American groups. So that group met with the mill manager, who explained to them the use of uranium and how it uses its half-life in these uranium ponds to be not dangerous for the people that live around that area.
After we talked to the uranium mill miners and the workers there, they were all saying how safe it was and that uranium doesn't hurt anybody, and that when you're up in a plane, the radiation from that's way more dangerous than the radiation from the uranium. And so they're like, okay, nobody should be worrying about this.
So simultaneously, half of our group was meeting with a mountain Ute activist who was against uranium mining.
Talking with the Native Americans, it was the complete opposite. They were saying it was too dangerous for their children to go outside and that they didn't have clean water, and they made it sound like the uranium was very, very dangerous for them.
There is still radiation, and so a lot of our young generations to this day, they never used to have any kind of health issue. So right now we're running into a lot of the young kids having asthma.
So these two groups met with very different stakeholder groups. That night we had all the students around a campfire sharing their stories of what they'd experienced. You could see their minds just starting to try to wrap around these really conflicting views.
I think after we got back as a group, I think it was pretty confusing for all of us.
The whole group had like a big debate. They're like, okay, is this right? We tried to frame it as a two-sided argument, saying one side's the Native Americans, one side's the uranium mill miners.
There's really so many inputs that it's not. There's no black or white, it's just a complete gray area.
The Bears Ears expedition was a great success for our students because we had a combination of adventure, academics, and character development, which is inherent to the foundations of T. We had students push themselves physically through the canyoneering, through the backpacking. We had students grow by talking to adult experts in the field, trying to wrap their heads around this conflicting story of change and preservation and land use. We had students working together in really adverse climates and conditions in sandstone, building fires for warmth, cooking for each other, taking care of each other, getting blisters, climbing, going into freezing cold water during the canyoneering route. It was just a pinnacle experience in all of our pillars at the Tahoe Expedition Academy.